Good morning. Before we get started, I want to acknowledge our International Union family who have made the long trip to the United States to stand in solidarity and stand up with our members. Leaders from FIOM, the largest industrial union in Italy, came here. I'm wearing their hoodie today. They were joined by our union family from Unite, the powerhouse UK union. Also attending were leaders from Industrial, the global labor federation that we all belong to. Our fight's not just about us, it's about the working class. Our companies exploit workers across borders. It's our job to unite and organize across the borders as well. I'm proud to be joined by our union family from abroad and want to ensure them and all union everywhere that the UAW stands with all workers in the fight for economic and social justice. UAW family, yesterday marked 4 weeks since we launched our stand-up strike. I want to take some time today to talk about where we're at, what we've accomplished so far, and what's next for our fight for justice at the Big Three. We're entering a new phase of this fight, and it demands a new approach. We're done waiting until Fridays to escalate our strike. Today, we're not announcing an expansion of our strike, but we are prepared at any time to call on more locals to stand up and walk out. As always, I want to first take time to honor our UAW family that's currently on strike. Tomorrow marks a full month on strike at the Big Three for our first wave of stand-up strikers. Local 900 at Ford, Michigan Assembly, Local 2250 at GM's Wentzville Assembly Plant, and Local 12 at Stellantis' Toledo Assembly Plant. So tomorrow, I'm calling on all of our UAW members and our allies to head to a picket line. Celebrate these members who are leading the way. And not just our Big Three members, not just for the UAW, but for the entire working class. Our stand-up strikers embody the best of our union. The sacrifice, the courage, the creativity, and the pride. The picket line is a sacred place. There's a lot of long, dark nights, and there's some bright, joyful days. We reunite with old friends, and we make new ones. We learn what it means to stick together through hard times. And it's not just the Big Three. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan also just marked 30 days on strike. ZF in Alabama is coming close to that point. And our union family at Thombert, Dometic, and West Rock have all been on strike for longer than a month. They're holding the line for a fair contract and are holding out against concessions. Our latest strike is at Mack Trucks. Our union family at Mack overwhelmingly voted down a tentative agreement. They decided they were not done pushing and they want to fight for more. And this is critically important. The ultimate authority in our union is the membership. We decide together whether we've won enough or whether we need to keep fighting for more. That's the union difference. The boss doesn't decide, the UAW president and the IEB don't decide. The membership decides. And we collectively decide just like we collectively bargain. You know, there's some that are trying to say that I'm raising members' expectations too high. They think it's dangerous to tell the working class they deserve more. I want to be clear on this point. I didn't raise members' expectations. Our broken economy is what's raising our members' expectations. And our members are right to be angry. Corporate America rebounded after the Great Recession, and profits are soaring. In fact, corporate profits have hit a 70-year high in 2022. Meanwhile, the working class has kept going backwards. We've seen our standard of living decline due to stagnant wages and rising inflation. Income inequality in the United States has now risen to heights not seen since the Great Depression. So I'm not the cause of raised expectations. The cause is overflowing corporate bank accounts. The cause is company executives making hundreds of times what the average worker makes. The cause is inequality. Standing up for yourself is not dangerous. It's our obligation to the working class and to future generations. What's truly dangerous is to continue to allow inequality to spiral out of control. What's dangerous is to let the ultra-rich get richer while the working class falls further behind. What's dangerous is to let companies and politicians kick workers while we're down, gut our unions, and rig our economy. So unless employers start coming to their senses, unless we start to see real gains in our contracts that match the gains we've seen on Wall Street, then I predict there are going to be a lot more strikes on the horizon. Here in Detroit, workers are preparing to shut down our city's casinos. That's nearly 4,000 workers in the Detroit Casino Council. Almost 1,000 of them are UAW members. 1,100 members at General Dynamics in Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania just voted to authorize a strike by 97%, and their contract expires next Sunday. If we're going to raise standards rather than lower them, if we're going to go from defense to offense, then we're going to need reinforcements. We're going to need to show up for each other in a big way. So tomorrow I ask you if you can do it, show up for each other on the picket line. Bring strikers some food, some music, some solidarity. So now let's talk Big Three. This week, we entered an entirely new phase of our stand-up strike. And let me tell you the story of how the mighty Kentucky truck plant of UAW Local 862 transpired. For 2 weeks, Ford's been telling us there's more money to be had. They've said, hang on, we're close, but there's still some room to continue to sweeten the deal. On Wednesday, they owed us an offer, and they gave us a call. They wanted to meet over Zoom, and they wanted to pass the same economic offer that they passed 2 weeks ago with no more money. So we said, if you're going to offer us nothing, you're going to do it to our face with our full national negotiating team in the room. We went to Ford headquarters to see what they had to say for themselves. It was not a long meeting. They tried to give us the same deal that we rejected 2 weeks ago and not a dollar more. So at that point, I said, that's all you have for us? Our members' lives and my handshake are worth more than that. You just cost yourself Kentucky Truck Plant. We had management leave the room, and Vice President Browning and Kentucky Truck Plant Chairperson John Jaggers, who's on the National Negotiating Committee, and myself made the call. And we let John make the call to take the plan out. We didn't wait till Friday, and we didn't wait a minute. We then called President Todd Dunn at Local 862, and he and his local leadership walked 8,700 members off the job. And of course, they had the unwavering support of Regional Director Tim Smith. This is Ford's biggest plant. Ford, of course, put out a statement about how unfair this action is. In that same statement, they admitted that Kentucky Truck generates $25 billion in revenue a year. That's $48,000 a minute. Our labor at Kentucky Truck generates more revenue each minute than thousands of our members make in a year. The revenue generated by our members at Kentucky Truck is so high that if the plant were its own standalone business, it would rank in the Fortune 500. We're not messing around. A negotiation requires both sides making movement. If they're not ready to move, then we're going to give them a push in a language they understand, dollars and cents. We did it the way we did for a simple reason. The company started to wait till Friday to make substantial progress in bargaining. We've been teaching them how to bargain. With the threat of a strike, we can get them moving. We can teach them the real meaning of competition. Not a race to the bottom, but a race to avoid further strikes. Ford thought they could sit back and not make further progress in bargaining because they thought they had the best deal on the table. Ford thought they could wait until Friday morning and then just make a better offer. They stopped being interested in reaching a fair deal now and only became interested in gaming our system of announcing strike expansions on Friday. They thought they figured out the so-called rules of the game, so we changed the rules. And now there's only one rule: pony up. We're at the point in this process where we are looking for one thing only: a deal, a tentative agreement. I wish I had more updates or good news for all of you out of GM or Stellantis, but the fact is, we're still bargaining hard with both of those companies, and they're now on notice that we are entering a new phase in this fight. That's why I was late this morning, that had Stellantis here, and we were meeting with them with some of the committee members, and we gave them assignments, so we'll see where things go. When I tell all of you members to be ready to stand up, I mean it. We're not waiting until Fridays anymore. We're not sticking to one pattern or one system of giving these companies an extra hour or an extra day. They know what needs to happen, and they know how to get it done. Taking out Kentucky Truck sent a very clear message not only to Ford, but to GM and Stellantis as well. Don't you dare slow walk us or lowball us. We will take out whatever plants they force us to. And to be clear, we remain in a very, very strong position. Already the wage offers we've received are more than the combined raises of the past 15 years. Coal is back on the table in a serious way. Our progression at Ford is back to where it was in the mid-1990s. But the reason we need record contracts from these companies making record profits is because we are here to address decades of falling standards and unfair treatment of the American auto worker. Now, Ford made a lot of noise after we took out Kentucky Truck Plant. As the saying goes, a hit dog will holler. Yesterday, a Ford executive told the press that on the economics, the company has reached our limit. He also said the company has stretched ourselves to get to this point. You know, I found a pathetic irony in that statement. You know who's reached their limit? The tens of thousands of Ford workers with no retirement security. You know who stretched themselves? The Ford workers who didn't get a single raise for a decade. You might remember the video we made about Sarah Chambers, a 17-year UAW member at Ford Local 182. It took her 16 years to make it to top pay. When are we going to talk about Sarah's limit? The Kentucky Truck Plant we just shut down in Louisville generates $48,000 in revenue per minute. That's vastly more than the lowest paid Ford workers make in a year. How much further do they want America's auto workers to stretch? We're not going to keep begging for scraps. Meanwhile, Jim Farley took in $21 million last year. We need him to do two things right now: look in the mirror and look in Ford's bank account. Go get the big checkbook, the one Ford uses when it wants to spend millions on company executives or on Wall Street giveaways. The problem here is clear, and the money is there. It's time to get it done and do right by our members who've generated your record profits. Ford's already threatening that if we demand more, they will close plants. We strike for 4 weeks, and everyone loses their minds. Where were all these concerns when 65 plants were closed over the last 20 years? Why is it when they kill thousands of jobs, it's business as usual? But when working class people stand up and ask for more, it's a crisis. Ford made $77 billion in profits in the past decade. All we ask is they reinvest it in the people who do the work. Ford and the others talk a big game about how American they are, how they provide American-made vehicles. Well, made in America doesn't mean anything if it comes with falling wages, declining living standards, and an uncertain future. That's what our fight's about. We're here to save the American dream. Somebody has to stand up and say enough is enough. And it's not just me saying it. A recent poll came out from the AP. It said that only 9% of Americans are siding with the big three in this fight. Think about that. Our strike's been going on for a month. The companies and the corporate media tried to scare everyone about the devastation our strike would cause. They tried to convince everyone that it's dangerous for the working class to fight for more. Instead, they're learning a hard fact. The working class in this country is fed up with being bullied by rich corporations and the wealthy. The working class in this country is sticking together. The longer our strike goes on, the more the public stands with us. The longer our strike goes on, the more the public turns against corporate greed at the big three. This weekend, I'm heading to Pennsylvania to spend some time with our union family at Mack Trucks. These brave members are out on strike too after overwhelmingly voting down a tentative agreement. The contract they were offered had bigger general wage increases than anything at Mack in recent memory. But it did make up for the inflation we've seen the past few years, and it didn't restore cost of living. The members at Mack decided together that there was a better deal out there and that they were ready to strike to get it. I've said for months, our union is done playing defense. We're going on offense. We're done aiming low and settling lower. It's time we started aiming high and seeing how close we can get to total economic and social justice. I've also been saying for months that what we win isn't up to me. It isn't up to your executive board. It isn't up to your local president or the president of the United States. What we win is up to us, all of us. It's up to all of you, the membership. I don't know where this journey is going to take us. We're gunning for a deal, and soon. A deal that honors our sacrifice and contribution to the Big Three's record profits. A deal that makes up for decades of givebacks and sellouts and insults. But the long-term goal here is much greater than that. I want us to look back on 2023 and be able to say, man, that was the first big win. That was the one where we really learned how to fight. That was the year we took our union back by standing up for ourselves. So today I'm not announcing any further strikes. Instead, I'm announcing a new phase in the stand-up strike.